As a nurse, I've seen a lot of people with sleep deprivation. It affects their job, their home life. At Room to Room, we want to take the guesswork out of buying a mattress, and that's why we brought in this technology. It shows you what you need. We want to do the assessment and find exactly what's perfect for you.
Be right there. Wait. Use the shovel and bucket of water, remember? Drown, stir, drown, feel. Then make sure it's cool.
Where'd you learn that?
SmokeyBear.com. Brushed up on some tips before we left. Don't want to start a wildfire, right?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
Well, hello there, Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon on a Sunday night. Hopefully you're having a great evening so far. You've had a fantastic weekend, and as we look forward toward a new work week, we anticipate that things are going to be in pretty good shape for us. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon here from the virtual Room to Room Weather Center this evening. Sparty storms are there to start fall. We do anticipate that from time to time, we're going to have some heavier ones as we go into this upcoming work week. We expect by midweek, and again, we're working on the timing on a front moving in and a couple of waves that go along with that. Possibility to maybe have some stronger to severe thunderstorms with that. Maybe a little more organized than what we had last week. We will see, and we'll look at the area outlined at this point here. Reasonably cooler weather is on the way either way, because that front will bring us drier and slightly cooler air and knock those low temperatures back to feel a little bit more fall-like as we finally actually roll into the changeover and new season there. But as you can see on the first 12 here, hour by hour, a limited rain chance out there, not zero, a couple of showers that we're looking at, but mostly dry conditions overnight. 71 degrees, 2 o'clock in the morning, 69 by 5 a.m. when we're down there, probably in the low 70s to begin early tomorrow morning before those temperatures start building a little bit more as we progress into the day. Mid-80s on the way by late morning, and rain chances coming back as we go into the afternoon time period. But outside in Cleveland this evening here, our camera there with the Old Glory kind of moving around a little bit on the winds. Winds out of more of kind of a westerly direction, about 7 miles per hour or so. Not terribly breezy. We've had those spotty showers. We obviously need a lot more rainfall to catch up on our fairly significant deficit we have going on. Amory 81 right now in those same clear conditions. And you can see, of course, Mississippi Live Weather Radar there in the corner of the screen scanning away and detecting nothing out of that. Just a few little high clouds still showing up at that location. 8 at 10 down there in Oktibbeha County, just kind of west of the Starkville area, coming in with 73 degrees as that current temperature. Humidity high, and so some patches of fog where we did see some rainfall earlier on, a possibility for early morning on your Monday. And then Greenville coming in 81 degrees as well. Again, kind of a westerly wind there out in the Delta. I referenced the dry conditions. Burn bans are in effect and do include Lee County, Jefferson Davis County as well. The only locations under those at this point, we will see. Probability that we'll see a few more of those added in the upcoming days. As we referenced though a minute ago, we do have a few isolated showers out there that we are tracking. You can see our loop over the last couple of hours here, and getting closer to Winona, the location where we're detecting a few of those at this instant here. I'm going to go ahead and stop this, and we're going to pop over here to analysis mode. This shows the rainfall chances and the severe weather chances in a couple of days, but I do want to bring this back over here to our latest scans on Mississippi Live Weather Radar so we can kind of look a little closer at some of these thunderstorms we have out here around Duck Hill and Grenada at this point in time. We'll check our camera there in the Winona area, see if we get a shot into and through these showers and storms that we do have out there. Again, heavy rainfall from time to time, and it does look like that one might not be updating at the moment. We'll give it a second here to see if that one starts going again. It does look like that one might be down on us, but some heavy rainfall out there. While we're looking at that, we might as well come on over and check and see if we have any sort of power disruptions related to that there. At this point, no official ones in our area, though we have a couple down around Kosciuszko, showing there with the blue showing up on the screen, about 100 power outages. So nothing that's over the top based on kind of that latest information. And you will note that the number of lightning strikes isn't terribly significant over the last 30 minutes on this shot here. You can see some of those little zigzags showing up there, Grenada, Duck Hill, Winona. But then again, just kind of looking at that, That's only 34 strikes, so it's not a whole lot out there. So back over to Mississippi Live Weather Radar. I'm going to bring this into our radar site there out of Monroe County, kind of our closest shot on these. Give you a little loop on this. This will be a 1 hour loop, kind of showing these kind of lifting back toward the north and east. Some of the heavier rainfall there, Alva back toward around the Lilac community, Elliott up toward Grenada. So notice over the course of the last hour, these have moved a little ways. I show that going, about 20 miles per hour based on the latest info here. So go and track that ahead about 20 miles per hour as we kind of have those kind of lifting northeastward there. And I do know that I'm straight up missing that one near Wallfall and Eupora. Again, looking at the times here, Alva over top of you now. We're looking at Misterton about 10:12 there. Hurricane Branch at about 10:16 there. Of course, that on Grenada Lake essentially. Graceport's Crossing there about 10:26. Abugala about 10:32. Look towards State Spring there at about 10:37. I'm going to extend this out slightly beyond that. So we just kind of extend that forward a little bit farther. I'm going to take our track length. We're going to go 50 miles just in case this little wave holds together. And I'm going to kind of have to slice out a few locations on this so we can kind of keep it. Let's see if we'll start that there about Slate Springs as our first city. Select that. And so you see that holds together eventually. Coffeyville, we're looking closer to you by about 10:39. Looking at Big Creek, by about 10:49 there. Calhoun City, 10:57. Close to Schoona at about 11:02. Pine Valley, about 11:09. If that continues about that pace there. And again, this is non-severe. Not expecting a lot out of these thunderstorms, but again, some moderate rainfall there, certainly kind of moving through. Look at some of the rainfall totals over the last hour or so. We'll actually look at 3-hour rainfall right there. We do see some of the greens. That's some decent rainfall amounts for folks that definitely need it. Let me bring up the latest scans there. Show Fewspokes, almost 0.8 of an inch over that period of time there. It's about as heavy as things have gotten. And if we look at rainfall over the last 24 hours today, that's kind of on par with what many folks have seen. They have one spot there, it looks like down in Winston County, where we have rainfall totals up about 1.8 inches. That's kind of the exception to the rule. And that looks like another spot there, kind of western Pontotoc County with fairly decent amounts as well. But in general, again, a lot of us, unfortunately, still missing out with these building drought conditions. Stressing that point again, and this does reference back to what we're looking at going forward. As far as rainfall accumulations are concerned, over the last 7 days, as you can see in a lot of spots, we've seen some, which is an improvement, but a lot of locations need more. So where do we go from here? Rainfall amounts over the next couple of days as far as the flash flood threat goes. For today, obviously nothing. For tomorrow, no. Our chances get maybe better for that more moderate rainfall as that front moves in late Tuesday into Wednesday in particular. We're kind of looking at that there. So here's hoping that's the case. Certainly we need some rainfall. And really over the next 3 days, rainfall amounts, I'll go ahead and clear this off here so we can kind of concentrate on what the data itself says. But a lot of spots where you see the greens there, that's 1/4 inch or so. You see the amounts get a lot greater back into Arkansas. Arkansas really has largely been a big winner as far as that is concerned recently. Will continue to be the case, not just over the next 3 days, but we've go over the next 5. The chances get a lot better for many of us, but as you can see, you don't have to go that far up to the north for those chances to be a lot more significant as far as rainfall is concerned. So with that in mind, as we look at kind of our latest here on kind of the wider shot, high pressure is the story that's largely in control of our regional weather at this time. And we do expect that as that eventually starts to slip away, we'll open the door for this front we have back out here toward the plains to have more of an impact eventually on us, and that will then up our rain and storm chances as a result. So with that in mind, as you can see here on Futurecast, all the active weather for this evening largely staying back to the north and west, not by a long ways, but yeah, back out here into Arkansas, closer to Little Rock. That is gradually moving eastward, but notice how there's almost this impenetrable line near the Mississippi-Arkansas state line that a lot of those heavier thunderstorms, they just kind of fall apart as they get a little bit closer to that. We're 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. As you can see, we're looking here toward noontime. Again, a lot of that struggling to cross the state line. That's not just an issue in the northern part of the state. It's really the entire state as a whole kind of fall in that regard. But that front will bring us more consistent rain chances by midweek as it gets closer to us. So over the next 24 hours, as you can see here, we're 68 to begin in the morning, 74 degrees by 9 a.m. or 87 by noontime, 90 degrees around that, maybe up to 92 or so for some folks for the high temperature tomorrow afternoon. Rain coverage around 20%. The chances do get better into the afternoon, and they get quite a bit better as obviously we'll look late into the Tuesday time period. That's one of the things we'll look at in more detail coming up here in 60 seconds on Mississippi Live Weather at 10 o'clock. Are some of those rain chances where we're kind of positioning the greatest likelihood to see some of those. Look at a weather picture or two as we work our way into the first official day of fall. Starts midday tomorrow. We'll look at the very latest at that fall forecast. Get those pumpkin spice lattes ready. Maybe that'll warm us up a little bit. We don't need a lot of warmth in the extended forecast, but it does cool down a bit. We're tracking that from the Room to Room Weather Center here in a couple of moments.
Your family deserves the most beautiful smile possible. At Tupelo Smiles, we use precision dentistry and advanced technology to make visiting the dentist an amazing experience. Relationship-based comprehensive care. Come discover the difference at Tupelo Smiles.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lobhon.
Spotty storms today causing a little bit of damage in Lafayette County. You're watching Mississippi Live Weather at 10 o'clock. These pictures coming in from Bo Moore, who is the emergency manager there in Lafayette County. We appreciate all the emergency managers do a hard job of aggregating information, passing along to ourselves, Weather Service, then work and coordinate efforts to kind of see some recovery from time to time after these. As you can see, big oak tree there knocked into this structure. This up there very near Enid Lake, no issues as far as this was concerned, as far as hurt injuries, thankfully, no injuries. It's rerouted. Obviously, there were issues, but no injuries related to this up there. Excuse me, I said Sardis Lake, not Enid Lake. It's occurring close to the 5 o'clock time period there on Harmontown County Road 517. So yeah, that's a big oak tree, as you can see, going clean through that one there. Obviously extending well beyond it. So scary in that regard. Obviously have these other two oak trees there in the foreground that also had issues related to this. Michael with North Mississippi Storm Chasers over there at Fort Payne, Alabama, just with a little mix of cloud cover as he was doing some traveling today. So the two different ends of the spectrum. Appreciate that Weather Watcher picture. Appreciate all the pictures that you submit to us. That Mississippi Live Weather app, a very easy tool to send those in. And we appreciate all of you that choose to do that when you choose to do that as well here. Let's look a little more detail here, kind of at what we're looking at outside at this instant. We kind of alluded to a minute ago there. In general, our cameras are largely in pretty good shape at this instant, coming in with, as you can see, just a mix of cloud cover out there, 78 degrees at this instant here in the Smithville area under what are kind of mostly cloudy but dry conditions. And those winds remain out of a southeast direction, about 6 miles per hour or so. As we kind of take a tour of a couple of our sky cams here at this hour, West Point coming in 79 degrees, just kind of almost a misty look to that one as well, as that temperature approaching that dew point in the 60s. So not overly impressive as far as any rainfall is concerned. Again, we're dry in West Point right now. We will look back at Mississippi Live Weather Radar, where we do have some of those showers coming up here in a couple minutes, making those 75 degrees on kind of those easterly sort of winds. Hey, we do change the season for tomorrow, and that change in the season shows up in the tilt in the axis of the Earth. So the Earth's axis is tilted 23.5 degrees. If it were vertical, it'd be 0. But it's tilted just that little bit, and that little bit is what gives us the seasons as we go around the sun. Well, okay, so tomorrow is what we call the equinox, and that is when that tilt makes less of a difference because of the position in our trip around the sun. Okay, so you see, when we talk about the summer solstice, of course, that'd be the beginning of summer, or the winter solstice, the beginning of winter, that's when our angle is tilted the most dramatically. So for us here in the northern hemisphere, we're tilted away from the sun on the winter solstice, hence the reason we're cooler. We get less of that direct sun angle in as far as sunlight is concerned. And then the summer solstice, opposite of that, northern hemisphere, that tilt, we're tilted more toward the sun, and so obviously the warmer. Well, we're now at the autumnal equinox for tomorrow. That fall beginning just after 1 p.m. tomorrow officially, and with the Earth's axis tilted neither toward or away from the sun because it's kind of hitting us from the side, for lack of a better way to put it. That means near equal amount of daylight and darkness at all latitudes, including up here in the northern hemisphere, and the reason why we don't have really the gradual trend that we're working toward, obviously cooler conditions as we transition into later in the fall season and winter season, as we lose less and less that most direct sunrise. We're tilted away from the sun. 68, that drop-off temperature for tomorrow morning. The sun's still fairly prevalent. We'll have a few clouds out there, but expect by lunchtime there will be 84 or 90 degrees as we head toward the final bell for tomorrow. Rain coverage fairly limited, but we'll probably have a few isolated showers. Here's a look at Futurecast. As you can see, showing overnight, most of the storms pretty limited in overall coverage and intensity for what we have. As you can see, 2-3 o'clock in the morning, not much, but again, I think it could underdo it. There'll still be that 1 or 2 little showers out there, still possibly late into the evening, but clearly the more active weather back to the west of us. As far as low temperatures are concerned, we're about 68 for that low in Clarksdale, 69 Cleveland, Greenwood, and Belzona. That is well above the low 60s we should be for low temperatures this time of year. So definitely still running with a bit of a warm streak, and that will continue through midweek as we work to see the approach of this next cold front. But you see dry, at least initially here in the morning, with that most active weather still largely back to the west of us. Here's the very latest look at Futurecast. And again, kind of a complex of thunderstorms, very well advertised in all of our projections, getting closer to the Mississippi-Arkansas state line by around noontime. And some of those rain chances could cross that as we head in the afternoon. So here's the deal. We're looking at noontime on your Monday, and this shows a lot of this dying out. Why I say that's not unreasonable. I do think we'll see some redevelopment as we go into the afternoon. We're looking at 3 p.m. here out there closer to Greenwood, Grenada, as you can see, by 4 to 5 to 6 o'clock. More possibility to maybe get some scattered showers and thunderstorms developing from west to east into the area as we head into the afternoon. High temperatures expected to be in the upper 80s and low 90s for tomorrow. Some of the more mild conditions near the Tennessee state line. Our normal high this time of year, as you can see up here at the top, 85 degrees. Record is 99, so we're nowhere near that. But 92, I mean, in Tupelo, that's where that official record is. But you can see 96 Greenwood. That is at least closer to those record sort of levels out for Greenwood, for Belzona. So it will be fairly hot, albeit the heat index is fairly well aligned with the temperature, not a huge difference between the two of those. As we head into your Monday evening here, majority of the area relatively dry. This looking at our HRRR model, our late evening run of this. You can just kind of see at the top of the screen here, this blue line representing our next front. Now, this is going to kind of get in here, kind of sort of stall out before it kind of decides what it's going to do next, but it starts to kind of push toward our area. Some isolated showers and thunderstorms associated with that here in the early morning hours of Tuesday. Notice that kind of flutters there and sort of sticking close by. That will be an initiation point eventually for thunderstorms later in the day. But as you can see here, we're looking 4:35, 6 o'clock on your Tuesday. At that point, the majority of the active weather is still back to the north and west of us. That is why when we look here at Futurecast and we look ahead at our severe weather risk on Tuesday, it's not a super high risk, is it? As far as severe weather, active weather is concerned. Kind of look at the latest data here. We expect late Tuesday night and then eventually into Wednesday is kind of when our best chances arrive as that next front moves into the area. That'll be kind of our initiation point. Listen, this is unlikely to be, a type of really significant severe weather risk, but some isolated and limited number of shower and thunderstorm producing maybe 1 or 2 severe wind gusts in particular, a possibility as that front moves in. Our meteorologist Maggie McCauley will have updated looks at this tomorrow morning on Mississippi Live Weather starting at 6:30, 7 and 7:30 a.m. She'll have updates as we look ahead toward that next chance there of more active weather. High temperatures expected to be in the lower 90s once again as we go into your Tuesday. 93 degrees in Greenwood, 92 in Grenada. We're 87 degrees Boonville, Iuka, about 90 in Water Valley, 88 degrees in Oxford, and 90 degrees in Louisville. So as we look ahead at that forecast, again, hour by hour for your Monday, 68 at 7 a.m. We're 87 by noontime, 92 where we typically should be for this time of year, where we should be is mid-80s. Instead, we're 92, which is well above where we should be for this time of year. We're 89 degrees by 5 p.m. and 75 as we look towards 7. Again, rain coverage, we're saying limited, maybe 20 to at most 30%. Late Tuesdays when that next chance for rainfall gets a little bit more organized. By eventually Wednesday, we're 50 to 60% on that rain coverage. I'm a little high on that 50% for Thursday. I think we're going to have to take that down as drier air kind of builds into the area. That'd be very close to the early part of the day before things start drying out a bit more. And as we look there ahead at Friday and Saturday, as we go into this upcoming weekend, rain chances become much more spotty, and a lot of us probably into the drier category, maybe only some upper 50s, believe it or not, for low temperatures there early morning on this upcoming Saturday. So I alluded to this a minute ago here. We need to come back and check out the latest on Mississippi Live Weather Radar. We had it kind of on the future precipitation mode, and we do want to go all 7 days out there as far as that is concerned. As you can see here, over the next 7 days, we're looking at some rainfall totals that could be up in excess of an inch and a half, maybe 2 inches. And you know the way thunderstorms go. You might get 2 inches very quickly out of some of these isolated storms when they start kicking that out. Case in point, we look at kind of the last 12 hours here, and you've seen a few spots we've had heavier amounts, like out here toward the Darden community. But we're watching this batch out here closer to, say, Kilmichael, Winona, Sawyer, Duck Hill. That's where we do have some thunderstorms ongoing at this point here, in Mississippi Live Weather Radar still showing those. Listen, these are not extreme by any stretch of the imagination. We show lightning strikes on this whole picture here. We're only looking at about 36 over the course of the last 30 minutes. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. We've got a lot of clear air returns on this. Give me a moment here to try to kind of cut that down to our most intense return, so that kind of clears that up. And when we kind of clear off all the rest of the extra stuff, give me a moment to hold on to kind of, there we go, clean that up a little better. You can see that if I make this a 2-hour loop, this is kind of held on a little while here. So I expect the little wave that's producing these, which kind of really reached its peak about 30 minutes ago, that will continue lifting back toward the north and east. So let's do a longer track. We're tracking this whole wave at about 20 miles per hour. If you give me a moment, I'm going to verify that speed. I do the old finger on the radar trick to make sure I get the distance correct. And then I knocked over my, hold on, I knocked over my screen. There we go. Give me a moment to get that right. There we are. Now, I was a little fast. That should be closer to 15 miles per hour. Okay. And that is why we check, right? So at 15 miles per hour, bring it back to the current scan here. We'll see how long, if that continues to kind of hold together. So there's about 15. Give me a moment here where I kind of clear this up a little bit more. We extend this out. So we're going to change this to slightly larger places just to give some kind of extended heads up. And let's just say 80 miles, which would really be pushing it, but not an impossibility. And I'm going to change the angle ever so slightly. There we go. Okay. So there's some times on your screen. So we show Coffeyville, as you can see, at 10:38 there. Calhoun City at about 11:17. Pittsburgh about 11:33. If this were to make it to Oxford, it'd be about midnight. If it were to make it to Houston, about 1 o'clock in the morning. And if it made it all the way to, say, New Albany, looking at 2:24. We show Ashland at 3:03. I'm going to slice off a couple of cities on there at the front end there. We're going to start that with Ecru. I think we can do that. Oops, hold on. Give me a moment. Let's try that again. We'll start that at Ecru, select that. There we go. That gets us a few other spots there. You can see we get to, Blue Mountain by about a 248. It'd be close to, say, 3 o'clock or so before it made it to Tupelo. Now, that's pushing it. I think it'd be a really big stretch to get it that far to the east. Stranger things have happened, but don't be shocked if you hear some rumbles. We're not expecting this to be overly heavy as far as tonight is concerned. But of course, that's the reason you have that Mississippi Live weather app. It'll let you know if something squirrely is going on, to let you know what's going on and whether or not you need to kind of worry about that. So certainly watching that potential there as well. Now, I'm going to see, and I'm going to try here, if you give me a minute, to see if I can kind of pull up. I want to try to see if I can pull up a little model data here for a second. So give me a moment while I try to move this onto a computer over here, because I think the best way to show this rain and storm chances later this week is using something that I can't really make pretty on TV, or whatever this is, connected TV. So I'm going to pull up, we'll call the European. Give me a moment while I try to see if I can force that open. So give me a second here. Oh, I should have a window capture for this. So we're links. If y'all be patient with me, I'm just going to try to make this work on the fly. So I need a window capture. And we're going to make this what? This would be COD. Okay, give me just a moment. It's probably going to knock me off here for a second. There we go. Give me just a moment here while I clean this up. And we'll throw that back behind me. Voila, there we are. Okay, so let's talk about these kind of storm chances for midweek, right? Because I haven't really shown you a whole lot. And I don't have a lot of good data when we get this far out, so I've got to kind of show you a very crude model, which is probably the best way to describe this. So this is what we call the European. And I can show slightly better versions of this, but this is just what I like. This is our front kind of coming in. We're looking here kind of pre-dawn Wednesday morning with that rolling in. And you can see how it's somewhere in that, at least on this projection here, early Wednesday morning before this kind of gets in. This looks like accumulated precipitation. And yeah, so this does show that there could be some heavier rainfall with this. You see the reds, that'd be, well, you can't see it. It's just off the screen. So let me drag it on where you can see it. Give me just a moment. We'll shrink that down. There we go. So now you can see at the bottom there, somewhere up there approaching the inch of rainfall for some locations out in the Delta. Okay, so as that kind of rolls into the area, we're looking here, say, what do we got? That would be close to some midday there into the afternoon. That's when we still have some thunderstorm chances sort of around related to that. I'm not impressed by what I'm seeing here. We look at the dew point, that measure of moisture that helps fuel thunderstorms. We have a decent amount of fuel out there. And if I look for what we call instability here, which is what we call CAPE, we kind of get in that zone where we have some halfway decent CAPE. So if I kind of go aloft on this, we'll look at 500 millibars. We'll look at kind of the wind speeds. I have this little jet max here kind of rotating in, right? This little bit of yellow here aloft. This could be just an added little kick there to get a few thunderstorms organized. That's where I think that sporadic wind damage threat could end up coming in as far as conditions are concerned there for your for Wednesday. So that's where, again, with that kind of kicking in, I'll go a wider shot here. Let me see if I can pull on. Let's do the whole contiguous US there. So that kind of digs in. Yeah. So I think it's not unreasonable as that digs in that we'll have ourselves in a position where we could potentially have some stronger thunderstorms, mainly in that Tuesday late and then in the Wednesday time period. But timing on that remains a bit flexible. This is the main projection I look at this point in time. It's still fairly low res, so we should hopefully get a slightly better look at that for tomorrow. So that's one of the many things that we are looking at here and kind of tracking here in the Room to Room Weather Center. Our next live broadcast will be tomorrow morning starting At 6:30 a.m., our meteorologist Maggie McCauley will be looking at this and everything else here from the Room to Room Weather Center at 6:30 a.m., 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m. as we continue to kind of track that potential for a slightly more active weather pattern, including the potential maybe for some strong severe thunderstorms as we go toward the middle portion of this week. So kind of bring it back here for just a moment. I'll double check, make sure we don't have any other questions worth looking at here. I'm looking over here on our chat. Primarily looks like YouTube on there tonight. Appreciate all y'all on YouTube there. Just Brenda, MZ Cat, and Gore Springs. Appreciate that. Patty, always one of them tuning in with us here, and appreciate Retha from saying hi there in Boonville as well. So hopefully everyone's having a great evening here. And these thunderstorms, we need the rain, luckily below severe limits. If you do have a significant active weather to tell us about, easiest way to do that, of course, is using the Mississippi Live Weather app, Facebook. And appreciate everybody who's been doing the Game of the Week stuff. When we post tomorrow, interested to see. It's going to be kind of a very competitive week for some games on where we end up. And speaking of end up, I'll actually be at Room to Room doing some live broadcasts tomorrow. Can't wait to tell you about that. Then we'll see you there at 5 and 6 o'clock. And of course, we'll see you back here bright and early tomorrow morning at 6:30, 7:30 a.m. live here from the Room to Room Weather Center. Have a great night. Y'all be safe.
Growing up, Gabe was naturally curious when he began to discover weather. Gabe just didn't want to know what was happening, but he wanted to know why it was happening. Gabe became fascinated with tornadoes, and it impacted his life. He wanted to pursue a career in meteorology. Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kitchen now.